Saddle up your horses.
Patter, let's get at her. It is another episode of the Mainly Broncos podcast, and yeah, let's get at her. It was a fantastic game. Alec obviously will be here in just a little bit. So before I was gonna say before we ask anything else, given the episode, Brandon and Alec, and given the magnitude of this game, and given everything that's going to possibly be happening in this show, which could potentially be a bit of a spicy episode, I think it's fair to ask one question.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
So chat room. So chat. Before we get started, does anyone want to get out? That's all I gotta say, because it's gonna get spicy in here. But no, it was a fantastic game. First things first, hit the subscribe button for the MHRT Network page over there on YouTube. Also hit subscribe to the Mainly Broncos page. We do a YouTube channel over there, so hit subscribe for Mainly Broncos. Follow Jordan, myself, and Brandon over there on the X Twitter wire at Brandon Miller PO, at Cameron Parker PO, and at Jordan T Lopez. Alec is no longer on Twitter, but he is on the Blue Sky.
Good for
you. So you can go follow him over there at Blue Sky. Oh, and also, I mean, if you want to, if every once in a while, yeah, I guess you could follow him on there as well. But blast, and I guess he wasn't too late, right? I guess Jordan wasn't too late.
What's up, fellas?
Hey.
So much for being late, I guess, Jordan.
I mean, I did. I may or may not had speed home.
Speed, okay. I mean, I guess the good thing is you weren't caught, but
yeah.
It's a fantastic episode. The Broncos beat the Chiefs, and as you can tell, we have a guest who's been on the show before. Alec, welcome to the show, man. And I knew the moment, obviously, with the game and everything, and then obviously Brandon, you even being at the game. This is going to be a fun experience. Getting the chance to hear what you had to see, Brandon, and being at that game, and then obviously, Alec. Obviously, we always love your opinions on the show.
I'll try to keep my word count less than usual.
So Brandon, I have to defer to you first because obviously you were at the game. So take us through the ride. In terms of the emotions, the fans, the Chiefs fans are at the stadium, drowning in their own tears. So can I just take us through, everything that was that game and the ride of Bo Nix, which was an incredible game, the ride of that defense, the special teams, which shined. So kind of just take us through this entire game from that fan experience.
Yeah, so I was lucky enough a buddy of mine invited me to the game, who unfortunately is a Chiefs fan, but he's pretty much like one of two Chiefs fans that I know that are like actually like not insufferable and like actually is a good sport and a good guy. But I had amazing seats. I did not realize how good the seats were until we got there. But it was just electric from the beginning because I feel like every other time we've played the Chiefs, I mean, even dating back to like, obviously like week 18, I'm not really going to count last year because it was backups, but even the game before that, I kind of just like, you go into it with this feeling of just like, okay, here we go again. They're probably going to win. Like the Chiefs are probably going to win. This is another L for Denver. And I know we were, a blocked field goal away from winning in Arrowhead last year, but it was just a different vibe. Like right off the gate, I don't even know if everyone was thinking like, okay, we're gonna beat them for sure, but it was just like a different vibe. It was like excited, it was hyped up, and that carried really throughout the entire game. I think even Sean Payton said afterwards, like he's never heard the stadium get that loud, and it was loud. And I was trying my best to contribute to what they actually did was I don't know if I haven't been to a game at the stadium in a while, and this wasn't really a thing beforehand, but it literally had like a video of Peyton Manning telling people to like scream when the Chiefs were in the huddle, which was great. But there were quite a few Chiefs fans around. One of them in particular was I thought he was going to get kicked out. Actually, he was very belligerent, but for the most part, it was mostly Broncos country there, and it was just incredible. It was an amazing experience, really from the get go. The one thing I will say is it was hard. It was almost like hard to get into the rhythm of the game because there were so many flags. Every single time anything happened, there was a flag, which was kind of gross, but it was just amazing. I think when like it kind of I wouldn't say that like it was a turning point because again, it was the energy was already there from the beginning. But when Marvin Mims had that return, it just kind of went uphill from there. Like it just everyone was like super into it. We were full of hope of like, okay, this is maybe gonna happen. Like this is actually like such an amazing game. So yeah, 10 out of 10 all around. Great experience, even though it was kind of a nail biter and it was super close down to the wire. It was just such an amazing game that I was at the point where like I wouldn't even have been mad if we lost because I'm like, this was just such an amazing game. We played them down to the last snap, and I'll take that as a win. But getting out of there with that win and the official win, unless you account score adjustments, which. What was it, like adjusted score? What was that guy that was like, oh, if you adjust the score, then it's one.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you adjust the score, then we're undefeated. Okay. But anyway, yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah. Obviously, Jordan, Alec, we were watching it like the rest of us, on our TV screen. Alec, take you're the guest. Take us through your ride of emotions. Looking at that game, we'll obviously dive a little bit more into the game, but just your fan experience watching the greatest game in the last 10 years.
Dude, I mean, I've been lucky enough I've been to 2 games this year, and I've been to one of the 2 games we've won by more than 1 score. So that was cool. However, I was at the Giants game, and that in person was insane. This one, so standing in the crowd, like in my seats, I just standing there. I had a heart rate of 128. This game, I was sitting on my couch, and I was at 102, like sitting. So my in-laws were over for the game. They're from Colorado, so I lucked out that I happened to marry into a Denver family as well, and
that's what we like to hear.
Where my wife, she gets so anxious that she can't actually watch the game. She was cooking dinner she was cooking to avoid watching the game. So every experience, like just every little thing, like my mother-in-law gets so into it and hides behind a pillow whenever there's a tight moment. And there was one, I remember there was a point at which my daughter yelled at both my mother-in-law and I because we jumped in front of the TV. We got so hyped. I want to say it was the third and might have been the first down catch that Court caught in the last drive to get him around the 40-yard line, and we got yelled at by a 4-year-old. So that was good. But I mean, it was a trip. It was phenomenal. The similar to Brandon, my dad's a Chiefs fan, so like. He the night before him, night before he was at our house, and I was like, "I love you, but man, I hate your fucking team." And he's like, he's like, "I know, I get it." So he's one of the patient ones again since like the AFL days. But Yeah, it was a trip. It was like we did it. It was just one of those like feels like we, you know, this whole year it's felt like we've won the games that we never win. It just that's how it's been. It's like we don't win that game. We don't win that game. But it's almost like the joke is wait till the fourth quarter rolls around. But genuinely, second half kicks off and we're in any game. So it ended and I was just riding on endorphins and felt like I had the flu because of just how worked up I got. It was a great experience.
Yeah.
One of like 3 times my father-in-law's given me a hug in the 10 plus years I've known him.
I was gonna say I can't explain it just because what it would have been like to have been there. I mean, you and I both were at the Giants game, so I can't explain it because that fourth quarter was something else just from the fan environment. But I can't imagine being at that game. And actually, there was a video where Cody shared like what it was like being in the press box when everything was loud and everything was shaking, and it was crazy. It's funny. The scene that popped into my head was from Jurassic Park, like in the where the water was just shaking. So Jordan, kind of take me through it for you, man. I mean, you're down there. You're down there in Florida.
Man, even through the TV, it seemed very loud. I mean, I knew once Romo said that it was the loudest stadium he's been to this season. I mean, it kind of speaks for itself. Because they're at every big game. That crew is always at the biggest game of the week, basically. So when he said that, you kind of knew the atmosphere was what everybody was going to say it is, which was a playoff atmosphere. So it was very nice to see that. I also saw the same video Cody posted. That was incredible. But that's even more of a reason why this team needs to continue to push for a home playoff game because we need that environment.
They badly need that environment, and they're on the track to host a playoff game. Which, frankly, if you do ask a lot of Bronco fans, one of their goals, if not their number one goal, was to host a playoff game, and they are well on their way. Whether it's a number 1 seed, 2 seed, or even winning the division, simply, they are on track to have their own playoff game in their own building, which it's going to end up being a tough place to play. And I will definitely explain why. But no, it was a fantastic game. Like, it was a fantastic game. And, we say so often about, how the Broncos, they need a complete game. And they've had, I would say, take the level of opponent out of it. Like, they've had some complete games, I feel like, during some opponents. But given the magnitude and the opponent, for them to truly put forth a complete effort in all 3 phases of the game was truly impressive. Now, we probably should start first with the elephant in the room, and that would be the play of 10 and how good Sean Payton was in this game. I mean, Brandon, I'll divert to you too, because you were at the game, and then we'll go with Alec as we're waiting for Jordan. But to ask probably the famous question that everybody would be asking, Bo has had good games, like really good games before, but due to the level of where this game was at, where would this game be in Bo Nix's career to this point?
I definitely think that was his cleanest game and I would almost say best game of this season. I would almost say it was his most complete game of his career as well. Even though he didn't throw a touchdown. The reason I say that, I kind of think back to even going into last year, like there were some games where specifically like I know it was, I think like week 2 or 3, it was week 3 against the Buccaneers. And then later on down the line in the season against the Falcons, those kind of stand out in my mind. It's like some of his better games. And I would say the reason I think that I would probably put this game above those and say this was his most complete game as a professional is because of what we saw the previous few weeks and like specifically, I mean the Texans, but also the Raiders game. He just didn't look. He kind of looked like he didn't look good. I mean, honestly, he didn't look good. I came on and said it last week, and I was brutally honest, and I said like I didn't think he looked like a starter, like a starting quarterback at the time. But he came out and proved me wrong in every way possible, and I couldn't be more happy to be totally incorrect. And I'll eat my crow. And the reason I think this is such a huge game for him is because he was able to come back in this fashion after two more questionable at best games to turn around and come back. And yeah, you're playing at home, and yeah, it's a mini bye week, but you're playing absolutely the biggest game of your career so far, biggest game of this franchise in the past decade. And it's against, obviously our number one rival that we've always been like, we got to get over the hump. We got to get over the hump. Can we beat the Chiefs? That's like the litmus test for the Broncos is if you can't beat the Chiefs, you're not going anywhere. So seeing him be able to do that was pretty awesome. But I would say this is probably his most complete game that I've seen from him in general. There were some weird things at the beginning of the game that I put more on Sean Payton. Like we tried to run that weird, I don't even know what it was.
Yeah.
It was like that like weird trick play where it's kind of like a pass
halfback
to him. It was so weird. I'm like, literally the first thing I said is like, Sean, why are you getting cute this early in the game, man? What are you doing? And somehow I think he heard me, or he just realized like, let's play a real actual normal football game, because that was the last we saw of that, thankfully. But it was an amazing game from Bo. And I mean, yeah, he didn't throw any touchdowns, but it just like the way he did what needed to be done. I mean, he carved up that defense like fully. And there were some plays too that like I think he made like that bomb throw to Troy Franklin down the right sideline that Troy just straight up dropped. Like there was more on the table that he was able to do where his teammates let him down. So that was an amazing game by Bo. And yeah, you'd like to see him lead some more touchdown drives. But that doesn't mean he didn't have an incredible game, because he played his ass off.
Yeah. Alec?
Yeah, I mean, I in terms of, how you rank it in terms of overall performance, right? Like there's statistical performance, then there's the just importance of the performance overall. For what this game represents, it was his best start of his career.
Mm-hmm.
From obviously, he threw for almost 300 yards and he didn't have a touchdown, but he got the ball in spots where he needed to, and he did the things that he was getting critiqued on, which was the deep ball. Aside from Troy taking that ball off his chest, he catches that. He's damn near perfect from beyond 20 yards this game. And yeah, he, in between diagnosing at the line, between just getting the ball where it needs to go and having mistake-free football, yeah, this is what he needed to do against the Chiefs. That defense is a pain in the ass to play against, and he carved them up. And the sacks that the moments in which he got sacked, like, again, those weren't sacks on him. That was pressure or somebody just straight up missed a guy. So that was, I think, this was like the rare occurrence in which the offensive line actually like let him down in a couple instances. But everyone else, like he in a time in which we could not run the ball, go through, and he did a wonderful job. So yeah, it was he's just again, I'm very biased, because even when he was playing off, like, it's and Jordan, I have to give you as much props as I possibly can on what you do on Sleeper. On just every time I get an alert from it, I'm just like, keep doing it, man, because it's literally you're just saying what I'm thinking from a different couple time zones, and it's real though. It's just like, people cannot be patient enough. Like the amount of like just all of a sudden, like the feeling we have today, it was a 180 for 2 weeks straight. People were just, the sky's falling. Oh shit, are we gonna have to draft another quarterback? No, we're not gonna draft another quarterback. Like he's played a season and a half, and he has elevated the team. Like
since day one.
Since day one. He has respect of the locker room. He has respect of the coaching staff, the ownership group, the fan base. His rookie year, he led the team to a damn near decade hiatus from the playoffs. And right now, he has his team as the current first seed in the AFC. Like, he doesn't do it pretty. It's not pretty every time, but guess what? I'd rather be able to win gritty games at this point, even though it is emotionally taxing every damn week. However, it's instead of having those moments in which you just are playing cupcake football and you're just kicking everybody's ass, and then all of a sudden somebody punches you in the mouth and you're not prepared for it. We've been getting punched the entire season and we keep popping out the right way.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it's phenomenal, man. Like, it's being able to randomly get stopped by like people about wearing Denver gear in the Boise area. Oh, it's wonderful. It's great. Yeah, it was a wonderful game.
Yeah. Jordan?
I mean, pretty much everything Alex said. I mean, it's funny how the narrative changes from week to week. It's again, it all goes back to social media and how it has ruined some discourse on why we just can't have normal conversations and stuff like that. You have a bad game in front of a national audience and you're the worst quarterback that's ever been, to you almost throw 300 yards against the Chiefs, win the game, big play after big play, and now you're the greatest thing since sliced bread. So it's funny how the narratives change week by week, how the national audience have no clue still on who's on the Broncos, if they're a starter or not, or any of that. So that's still going on, despite them being the number one overall seed. It's laughable. Everybody that has followed the Broncos day in and day out do know Bo Nix is the guy. I'm done with asking the questions if he's still the guy or if he's not. He showed us all his rookie year. He had a historic rookie year. He showed us then. Yes, has he had struggles this year? He has. But guess what? He's still 9-2. If he was really a bad quarterback, we would not be 9-2. And he has proven day in and day out, every fourth quarter, he would lead us to a victory. And I thought Chris Sims, not Phil Sims, Chris Sims, said it perfectly today on one of his breakdowns of Bo Nix. And I'm going to post it, I think, tomorrow. But he talked about how the Broncos offense is nothing special in terms of personnel and what they're doing, like play-wise. Like, personnel-wise, we really don't have any superstars. We don't have a guy that can just take the top off of defense, like, consistently. And, like, there's a reason why the Chiefs went man-to-man a lot and we really couldn't win our reps. Like, Chris Sims nailed that part down, and I've been saying that forever. Like, we don't really have a superstar on the offense. And then when it comes to, like, our play design and stuff, it's very basic stuff. Like, we're not reinventing the wheel. We're not like the Lions. We're not like the Seahawks, the Rams, like all these high octane powered offenses. Like, we're doing very basic stuff, and Bo's making it work with the personnel, with the offense, and even playing these great defenses and having somewhat of a sophomore slump in terms of his mechanics and stuff like that. He's still making all of that work, and he's 9-2 and winning games. So I thought Chris Sims said it best, and it really describes what Bo is dealing with. It's not the worst situation, but it's also not the best. But he's making it work, and guess what? We're 9-2.
Yeah.
And on top of that, in his brief, 28 game career, he's already 10. I looked this up the other day. He's already 10th in team history in passing touchdowns, 12th in yards. He's on pace. He's on pace to pass Cutler for 6th in team history for touchdown passes, and passing Charlie Johnson for 7th in team passing yards by the end of the year. So, like, what are we doing here? Like, you can argue about quarterback wins all you want. However, generally speaking, if you're winning and you're the quarterback, there's something that's going right. So,
yeah. Well, and I think that, when you look specifically of the development of the team, we're all going to take 9-2. But I think that strictly from the team side of things too, the kind of wins they are developing at such a early point with this young quarterback and with the team around them. No, they don't necessarily have superstars, but that is going to make them better. And winning these one-score games at this early point in this career is going to end up making them such a better, well-rounded team. They're already proving to be a pretty solid roster for not having a superstar on the team. They're proven to be a pretty solid roster, and I think that Bo has really lifted that, right? Like Bo really has lifted that, and he does need to perform a little bit more on a complete basis, but he did that against Kansas City, and I think the thing that just really causes so much optimism, or I should say causes so much optimism for Bronco fans or hopefully the national media at some point is those are the types of games. Like those are the types of games where if you really want to put a guy like Bo Nix as a possible MVP candidate for the future, those are the games. Those are the games that you're going to end up calling back on, and he could put you on his back and actually win. And I think that the fact that we do have these fourth quarter comebacks is a reason for that, right? Like, I mean, obviously there's just so many to fall back on where no, they weren't complete games, but it was evident you are seeing a completely different quarterback in the fourth quarter to where I think that, when we asked the question of like, was this, his best game of his career or most complete game of his career? Those are definitely like two different questions, but it's not the thing that's just crazy is it's not like we have not seen this before, right? Like we have seen this in the sense that just the fourth quarters that we've seen this year is where it's been bottled up in the fourth quarter of how elite of a quarterback this guy really can be. Because that Giants quarter is something I can't even explain. Even being there in person. And I understand the Tebow jokes when it comes to it. Tebow's not executing plays and, doing anything pre-snap and doing anything like that. Like we're just kind of sprinkling plays here and there when it comes to Tebow time, right? And I think that even for the Philadelphia Eagles game, who they beat, by the way, the Super Bowl champions, like it is just absolutely crazy what we've been seeing in the fourth quarter. And this was the first time you can see where they bottled up what was that fourth quarter into all four quarters, and we got a chance to see an offense that is, when it's operating like that, that is a really hard team to beat because and to a certain degree, and Jordan, you and I've had the conversation when it came to the PO Slack chat, but the Broncos, frankly, they compare a little bit favorably to the Philadelphia Eagles. You got a head coach that everybody hates. You have a quarterback that everybody is either sleeping on, they love, or they hate. And they have a very, very good defense. But the problem with the Philadelphia Eagles, or the problem with the Denver Broncos, at least it seems at this point, is if you see them at its hottest point, that's not a team I want to face. That is not a team I absolutely want to face when it comes to this. Because if you give them home field advantage and you give them a quarterback that is possibly red hot and spurting the ball around just like he did at Oregon, that is a difficult offense to face no matter what.
I'm ready for people to remember how horrible it is coming to Denver in the playoffs because I feel like that's been forgotten. How just like difficult it is to play here and how this is, you do not want to come here. Like you do not want to come here in the playoffs and no one knows that anymore. And they're going to find out. The one thing I'll say about that comparison to the Eagles, that's a really interesting point. I do think there's two things that I would say set us apart from the Eagles in, I would almost say a good way, because like they do have that like, okay, hot and cold offense, elite defense, keeping them in games. Although I think we have just more like fourth quarter magic, but I will say the weaponry is quite different. Like you got AJ Brown, you got Devonta Smith, you got Saquon Barkley in Philly,
Mhm.
and that we just don't have that kind of weapons here in Denver. I think based on everything we've seen so far, I'm obviously super excited for the rest of the season, super excited for the playoffs. But I do think looking at a little bit ahead to the offseason, you add a true elite dominant wide receiver to this team, an actual threat at tight end that is not 30, and a better running game. Because RJ Harvey, I still don't know what he is yet. Missing J.K. Dobbins hurts. I like Harvey. I think giving him more touches and more snaps is probably going to be a good thing, but he's just not been amazing. So that's still something I think I'd like to see them address. But you do all that and cut down on the penalties, and this team is cooking with gas in so many ways.
Yeah. Well,
but yeah, that's kind of the point I wanted to make just in terms of that Eagles comparison. But the other thing I wanted to point out that I really enjoyed about that performance by Bo is I talked about like him pretty much coming off of what I would say is like one of his worst game of his career into his best game of his career, is also like the very, very first snap of the game. Chiefs win the call, they defer, we get the ball.
it's a
Immediately, it's a sack. Immediately. And I'm just like, oh man, here we go. Like this might be a little bit tough. And it just didn't matter. It just like he had that goldfish memory of just like, nope, next play. And I mean, I'm always gonna call it like I see it, and I'm not saying like I wasn't trying to say that the sky was falling. Like, I'm not that kind of fan, but I was critical of him, and I feel like it was deserved. And I'm just being honest, but I'm not writing the book on him yet. Like he turned around and again, he just balled out against the Chiefs in the biggest possible moment. And after that tone-setting sack by the Chiefs on the first play of the game, he just turns around and is like, okay, I'm just going to march this team down. Probably should have scored a touchdown, but we ended up obviously getting the field goal.
Yeah.
But it was just like, oh, that's different. Like seeing him be more confident with like his reads, be more confident with the plays he's making, not immediately check it down, not immediately try to run around and make something happen. Like he's manipulating the pocket a little bit better. He's stepping up a little bit better. He's making some really impressive down the field throws. I mean, they're not deep shots, but like 20 plus yard throws.
Yep.
Like dude was balling. And like, yeah, a quarterback development is not linear. And I saw it last week, or when we talked last week of just like, hey, he wasn't good. And I'm going to call it like I see it this week, and he was great. So I'm excited to see what he continues to do from here. But that's an interesting comparison with the Eagles. But I do think to that point, like there's so much. My point of this is there's so much more room for this offense to grow.
Yeah.
That it's kind of crazy that we're 9-2 and we don't have what I would consider an elite offensive weapon.
Yeah.
Tight end or wide receiver.
Oh.
And the running game is still, I don't know. So like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, flip side of that though is, and again, I'm gonna defend our boys. It's our scrappy gents that Philly. The comparison is there because they are winning their gritty games, and then there are flashes of what they can be.
Mm-hmm.
And AJ and Devontae, one's a Heisman Trophy winner and national championship winner, and the other one's just an absolute terminator for a receiver. Yeah, so that's just different dynamics. And then obviously with Saquon, they've been around, so they have a little bit more of a media feel as well. Flip side of that though, and it has to be about consistency. Troy doesn't let balls hit him in the chest. Troy, if he plays like he did in the fourth quarter, dear God. Bryant, like that 48-yard grab he had. Oh, like again, yeah. Well, the dot to Troy on the left side of the left sideline, like we keep doing that, stretching the field there, threatening it, because we did that without actually having a run game. Like we were able to. You could say what they will. Yeah, they were in man, so that we were able to do that a little bit easier. However, we need some dudes. We need, Evan earlier in the year, all he had to do was catch 4 to 5 balls for 40 yards. Just move the chains. That's all you had. He had to
We're starting to see that a little bit.
And just don't have 5 drops. These like don't be in the top 10 in drops. That's the difference here. But there are a fair amount of tight ends that will be hitting the free agent market this next year, and most of them are about 27. I would say like the dream situation would be like Beaton. If Cade if he hits the open market, that'd be phenomenal. Have somebody that can actually be in line and block a bit, and then have Evan pop out and be more of the move tight end. But there's some guys in the draft maybe they'll go get. Who knows? Again, my dream scenario is somehow Sadiq ends up a Denver Bronco, but I'm not thinking it's going to happen. But running back, as if JK can come back from it, I mean it's crazy. He's not even 27 yet. He's still 26. Right. So like, but there's quite a few guys that will more than likely hit the open market next year too. So, and the thought here is, hey, we're 9-2, and that is a destination people will want to come to. So it's gonna, and we're gonna have a shit ton of money to play with.
You can't have too many good young running backs. It's just not possible.
Yeah. And I figured, and obviously we let it off with probably one of the most obvious game balls being Bo, but I just figure like the entire show should be nothing about like game balls. Like given the fact of that game, there's just so many to go around. So I figure we might as well just do almost like an entire show of game balls, kind of dedicating it to everybody that's kind of like deserving of it. It's interesting. We were touching about the wide receivers earlier there. What I thought that was so different, and obviously I know, Jordan, you are super critical when it comes to the wide receiver position. We all know that. But and obviously they don't have the dog wide receiver one, or they don't have the Jalen Waddle that we've been mentioning right in the last couple of weeks of like they probably could have done that trade if they wanted to. And maybe it is something that they revisit in the offseason. That said, though, this was the first time that I noticed that felt like it was replicating a Drew Brees type of offense, where it was like we don't really have to facilitate it to just Troy Franklin that we did the last couple weeks or the last 3 weeks, where it's Troy. Like we actually got a chance to see it really well distributed across the board for all their players, which is, I mean, for not having a running game, that's probably one of the better ways you can help mitigate that, and you're so successful with it. So the fact we saw Troy Franklin, they did dabble a little bit more with Courtland Sutton. You saw Evan Ingram at times too, right? And then they dabbled a little bit of Pat Bryant, who had his best game as a Denver Bronco. I mean, he was fantastic in that game. And then obviously RJ Harvey. So I just figured we could give a numerous amount of game balls to even just the wide receiving core. Obviously, we said that they probably could still upgrade, but that wide receiving core, even the playmaking crew, really did play an incredible game.
Yeah, I mean, we had Franklin with 4, Pat Bryant with 5, Courtland with 4. I mean, I'm going to lump in Evan Ingram as a wide receiver because he's more of a wide receiver than he is a tight end. He had 4, and Harvey with 3 receptions. I mean, that's a Drew Brees type of offense, just spraying it to your main guys. I thought, I understand he gets some criticism because of the drops and stuff like that. Listen, I'm totally here for it, and I understand. But he is almost like a wide receiver version of Bo, because whenever he is in the fourth quarter, Troy Franklin just turns into another wide receiver. Whether it's a 2-point conversion he caught against the Eagles, the 2-point conversion he caught against the Texans, where that catch was incredible, or the big play he made against the Chiefs. I mean, we can go on and on, but I know people are very critical of him as well. I thought Franklin played a great game after he had that critical drop. His ability to run away from corners and create a bit of separation a little bit more consistently than others is what separates him from the other wide receivers in the room. And I thought the release he had on that goal ball down the left sideline was absolutely great when the guy tried to press him and the guy didn't even get his hands on him. I thought that was a perfect description of Troy and what he can be at his peak. And I thought Troy, for having 4 catches, 84 yards, and he struggled, especially with some drops. If that's a struggling game for Troy, I mean, that's a pretty good struggling game.
And real quick, just to touch on the wide receivers aspect of it, I brought up that I think we still need that kind of elite dominant weapon.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Don't hear what I'm not saying. That was not a knock on our current wide receivers. They played an amazing game. Troy Franklin, he had that drop that I mentioned earlier on in the show, early in the game, but dude came back in a big way.
Yeah.
He's a baller. He's only 22 years old. He's a sophomore. He's still developing. I love the future for him. He still has a little bit of a drop problem, but compared to last year, he's night and day different, and he's looking like he's going to be something special. So I love him. I love Cortland Sutton. Pat Bryant has been just amazing, to the point I don't know what all it'll take, but maybe Jordan will start to like him. Dude, he was lights out, man. But I say all that, and I love all those guys, and they're all just putting in the work. But imagine a Jamar Chase level player on this team, and I'm just oh my gosh, you can't stop it. Who stops? You cannot stop this team with that.
You have to,
but
the flip side of that, you have to trade for that, or you have to lose a lot for that. That's the downside.
I mean, okay, Jamar Chase maybe wasn't the best example.
I know,
but you can get elite.
Oh, yeah.
Jackson Smith and Jigba. I mean, I know he was also first round, but he was drafted a little bit later.
There's some
get elite.
There may be some guys at the back end of the first this next year that they can go snag.
You can get him in second.
Yeah. Oh no, I agree. Really.
Yeah.
It's a body type thing, but I have an anti-game ball because I think it changed the theme here, and it was on the wide receivers. I know that correlation is not equal causation. However, in this case, I'm going to make it. Trent Sherfield gets booted from the team, and they have their best game as a group. So, sorry, Trent. But now 5 opens up for Harvey to get, and the team is having little Jordan Humphrey. We can give as much as we want. However, the dude can block his ass off on the perimeter. Too. He's basically if Evan could actually block a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
They're fairly similar in that realm. But they played. Yeah, Pat is playing not like a rookie. Dude puts his body. I'm really glad he got back in the game. I thought he jammed his shoulder. I thought it was something with his collarbone, but he's a tough dude for that as well.
Yeah, that was incredible. And I at least want to hear the words, Jordan. At least progress in the right direction. Pat Bryant played a good game.
He did. He did.
Okay.
He did.
What I guess as things are progressing in the right direction, give us the Jordan Lopez. What did you like about Pat Bryant in this game?
I thought that he was more involved in the passing game, which I've been dying to see because the other weeks he has been non-existent, despite others telling me that he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. So it's finally great to see him involved. And I think that corner that he caught off of the action, I know he was wide open, but still, for him to make that play is also something we need because we haven't been making those plays on a consistent basis. But again, I thought he played a good game, and hopefully he can continue to be involved in the passing game and not just as a blocker, because as we hopefully get a proven dominant wide receiver 1 next year, hopefully he can still be within that rotation, even though I saw people telling me that he's our real wide receiver 1, which again, we still need. No, we need a real true dominant one. So
I'm just saying,
he did play a good game.
I'm just saying everything's on the table, but it's good to hear. And obviously we dog on Jordan, but it's just we know he means well. I just think
and Bryant's leading the receiving core in yards per catch, man.
Yeah,
it's when he does get the ball, it's for good chunk plays. So
and he's been a sneaky downfield option.
Yeah, or maybe not downfield, but these last
Intermediate field. That's
I was gonna say these last like 4 to 5 weeks, he's really proven to be a safety net, or maybe the safety net. If it hadn't been Cortland Sutton, he's been kind of proven to be like the safety net for
middle
Bo.
of the field, and it's the
Right.
middle of the field too. It's like
Yeah.
they'll have like a rollout to the right, and he just finds them for a dart about
Yeah.
15 yards down the middle of the field.
And I think that the biggest thing that I really liked about that Bryant corner route, aside from the route that he ran, was that was a Sean Payton like masterclass of a call, because you look at the personnel that was on that field, it was screaming run all the way. Little Jordan Humphrey's on the field, Pat Bryant's on the field. I think Cortland was on the field. So like it was almost like screaming, this is going to end up being a run. And then they run a play action. I want to say it's a counter where, Bryant takes that corner route and it fooled the entire Chiefs secondary, and Bo hits him in stride in a pure strike. And it ends up going for about 48 yards. So it was an impressive play all the way around. And I think the thing for me with Franklin, obviously he's frustrating, but I think that the thing that I've actually come to realize is the only person that is not going to take that next step forward when it comes to the overall development of Troy Franklin is Troy Franklin, because he has all the confidence in the world from the team, whether it be the head coach, whether it be the staff, the rest of the staff, or whether it be Bo Nix. Bo loves Troy Franklin, and obviously he's loved him ever since college. So the only person that's going to be stunting that entire development is Troy, because it is evident that the ceiling of him in that room, there probably is no player, and obviously it goes to what Jordan said, and he wrote about it on PO, but like there is no player in that room that probably has the highest ceiling at wide receiver than Franklin.
It's true.
I mean, the connection he has with Bo is already just insane.
It's just like those random layups that just get missed. Like what happened? But then all of a sudden you see somebody that just like cross somebody up and just hit a 30-footer. That's what ends up happening. It's these guys they make I don't know. It's just, like Jordan said, both guys just turn it on in the fourth quarter, and all of a sudden they remember, oh shit, we're good. We can actually do this.
It's also like, I think it's just like a nerves thing. Just like early in the game, just like moving a little too fast, just settle down. Because both
their second years, right? Like,
I mean, the Troy Franklin redemption arc in this game didn't even come in the fourth quarter. Like he started to ball out definitely just overall in the second half. But like it was rough on the first couple plays for sure. But he seemed to settle down fairly quickly, which is encouraging.
And on the other side, we have the best defense in football. Can we just appreciate this? Like we have the best defense in football, and Jaquan McMillan was snubbed in AFC Defensive Player of the Week because for some reason, maybe it's just because Jordan lives in Florida, and they wanted to give it to Jordan Brooks down there in Miami because he had 20 tackles in a game, and they didn't want to give it to J-Mac for 2 sacks and an interception. Or I should say they could have just given it to the entire Denver defense for forcing 3 turnovers on 1 drive, 2 of which were never called appropriately officially. But the Broncos defense, when we say game balls, that's probably a true area where you could just hand multiple game balls to literally everyone. But obviously, first and foremost, we have got to give one to J-Mac.
J-Mac is the MVP.
Yeah, they're just the fun thing is it's like legitimately at every level there are multiple dudes, like just bad sons of bitches. They're just across, like there's a shot from the game where, like, you see Greenlaw just the line just staring Mahomes down. I'm like, dude, I would shit my britches seeing that. And then on top of that, every DB we have, they're just dogs. Doesn't matter, like if you have a Cad that's like $180 just soaking wet, he's knocking dudes down. Barron taking Kelsey down. Barron is a sneaky tight end, like blanket. Yes, like this whole year when you put him on a tight end, he shuts him down. And then our safeties, like again, Hufanga has just exceeded every expectation known to man. It's just you see the hair fly, you're like, oh, we're good. We know we got this. You see like, oh, he diagnosed, we're good. And then this is like obviously been said ad nauseum over the last couple of weeks, but Pat hasn't even been playing, and our DBs are just that stacked, and our poor creatine Caucasian is just getting brutally picked on, and needs to keep his hands a little squirrely down at the very end of a rep. But everybody else, like, they're just absolute problems. It is so much fun.
Dude, I am just so upset for Hufanga because he came so close again to getting a pick, and that was my hot take prediction. Is Hufanga finally gets his pick that he's been so close on like 4 times this season, and on that tipped ball in the red zone that Mahomes threw, and then Hufanga is like in his hands, he just can't quite come down with that. I'm just like, man, or even the play
the play he literally read, the thing with Travis Kelce, literally jumps the route, and it's in his almost in his hands.
Yeah. Oh yeah, twice.
Yeah.
But
Brandon, it's gonna pay off when Hufanga gets it to clinch the Super Bowl berth.
Oh man,
the Patriots
out. Imagine.
Oh, thank you. I was about to say he's gonna take Drake.
Cheers.
That game, the Giants game, like he and Brandon ran into each other, knocked the wind out of Jones. I thought he was concussed. That play, the play before that, like he had 2 chances then. It's literally, it's one of these days, man. It's just like, the guy that can't hit a slider. It's like one of these days he's just gonna rip it. And he's so much fun. And it's something to say, it's like good luck on a screen. Like his hair is already there. Like it's definitely like chalky. The easy answer is to say, well, yeah, Paul Malu. Yeah, duh. It's a Polynesian safety with giant hair from USC.
Hair on the fire.
And they just play with, seem like sweethearts off the field, but when they're on, they are. The only thing he's really done wrong this year is when he body slammed. Who did he body slam Was it against the Colts?
I thought it was against the Texans.
No, it was Chargers. He body slammed Keenan Allen. That extended the down. Aside from that, he's been I mean, don't want to give PFF too much love in terms of ranking wise, but at least they value him. That's one of the few ones where I'm like, well, okay, thank you. He's been going into the free agency. He's coming off. He's always hurt. This and that. Dude, we got a steal at 3 or 45 compared to how things are going with him. So game ball there, but going kind of back to the offense. I know that Josh mentioned the comment here about Peyton.
No.
Aside from I would say this is probably the best he's done in terms of getting play calls in quicker. He definitely did a better job this week.
Yes.
The only call was when Palcho was trying to put his damn cleat on. Dude, I was dying. I'm like, oh my God, get your fucking shoe on. Get it on. and then he ends up getting a hold on the play, and it was a good play too. It was they got the play off within 1 second of the clock. And aside from that, again, that's not on Sean, but Sean stepped it up too.
Yeah, he did.
Everybody knew the importance of you don't want to say trap game with the Raiders, but let's just call it. They played like shit. Maybe they're looking forward to it. But they stepped everybody across the board elevated. Special teams, pass blocking. Adam Prentice, he bodied fools in the backfield.
He did.
As much as you just wanting to see 20 back on the field, dude. Gritty 46 fullback number. It's just he's old. He's just a throwback. Sign him to a lifetime contract. I love him. He's so much fun.
Just like punters are people too, fullbacks are people too. And by the way, Mike and Timothy, we'll get to those questions after the show when we talk about the game.
Was it the shot to Franklin where Prentice just lays out the free runner?
Sideline one.
He didn't even there wasn't even that much effort done by his part. It looked too he just was a spring and just put him on his ass, and he stood over him. I don't think he realized he got him that good. He was a single back and then just bodied the dude. It was oh my God, it was pass pro.
He was getting He was getting pancake lessons in the lab from the belly.
Yeah,
That's what that looked like.
He's got
You know-
that on PFF. He's the second best pass blocking fullback in the league.
Hey, when the offensive line is doing its job, well, the fullback is too, right? Like the fullback is too. I gotta say, I mean, you really hit on a point that it's funny because they did Kona Spence, who does a show Fridays with Bronco Bill on the network, mentioned about the fact that the game was on. But I said to my dad when we were watching the game before we were doing the show here, there's like they were getting plays in. Like they were getting plays in. They were out of the huddle. So the fact is that was probably one of the biggest things that I think maybe people need to talk a little bit more about. And that is the fact that they were getting out of the huddle. And Jordan, that has been something, and Brandon, that has been something we've been mentioning for, a couple weeks now. And I think that one of the other part too that I thought was so impressive with Peyton was not just the fact that we were getting out of the huddle when it was 15 seconds, 18 seconds, and we're already near the line, and Bo could be able to diagnose and do whatever it is that he needs to do, look calm, whatever, get the cadence right, et cetera. It felt like the personnels were starting to kind of die down. Like there was a few personnel switching, but it wasn't like it was, we're doing this thing constantly with the personnel changing. There were multiple times where I felt like you were seeing Evan Ingram on the field, or you're seeing a little bit more Pat Bryant, or you're seeing, times where they were going up tempo. And because they were going up tempo, they were keeping that same formation out there. They weren't rolling in different formations. So I really do think Peyton does deserve that game ball with, not just the overall play calling aspect, but the fact that he was helping them get in and out of huddles and the personnel was starting to get down.
Did you hear what Tony Romo said on the broadcast about that?
Enlighten us.
He mentioned to everybody, which I'm so glad he did. He said whenever Sean gets the play in early, Bo looks and plays a lot more in rhythm, and he's just more comfortable. Like he's elite. And that's what he said to everybody. And I'm so glad he said that because every single time Sean does get the play in early, I think the offense looks great. Bo looks great. We're all good. Whenever the play clock is at 5 and it's taken down and we have to rush ourselves, we look like absolute shit. So I'm so glad Romo said it because I know the CBS came out with the numbers, but it was like one of the biggest watched games this season. And I'm glad everybody got to hear that. I mean, now nobody's really going to take that as gospel because, I mean, people just want to hear what they want to hear at this point. But still, I'm glad he said that so everybody – knows that because it is true. And that's been a consistent theme this year where we are hurrying up to the line and Bo really can't diagnose the defense and all the disguises and stuff like that. So I'm really glad he said that and we looked a lot better.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where when we play up tempo in the fourth quarter, by necessity, the calls are in quicker and guess what happens? We play better.
Yep.
So
yeah. What about you, Brandon? I know you're itching being there at the aside from J-Mac. Obviously, J-Mac was the easiest one. You got another game ball for us,
Dude? I don't know. It's everyone. I can't even give it to one person. The one thing I will just say real quick, on that specifically on that J-Mac interception, which also I feel bad for Barron on that because oh my gosh, man, that entire sequence was the poster child of ball.
You were there, by the way.
Because
what was that illegal contact for one?
I didn't see that side of the field. I was on the play side of the field.
Okay.
That was it was hard for me to tell. But it's that entire sequence was again, that whole thing was ball don't lie because Mahomes was just panic throws it. He straight up panic throws it, and Barron gets that pick six. Of course, that's negated by penalty. Go a couple plays later, and I went back and watched this on the broadcast view. When Mahomes is scrambling to the sideline, he looks scared. He's just looking around at all the Broncos players closing in on him. He's like, shit. And he panic throws it again. Yep. And this time McMillan is there. And he returns it 60 yards. And I will say, it was hard to even hear what was happening with the flags because it was so loud. But all I know is like I saw the pick six and I was like losing my mind. And of course it comes back. And then I saw the return on that pick and I was losing my mind. And then all I know is I blink and 2 seconds later we're starting at our own 10. I was like, what the hell is this? And then of course we still drive down the field, which was great. But yeah, that was just incredible. I don't even know who to give it to, man. It's just everyone. Like
Zach Allen standing over
Zach Allen,
Mahomes.
Oh my gosh, dude. Zach Allen was incredible.
Can we give a collective? Can we give a collective game ball to Vance Joseph?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Vance Joseph,
masterclass.
Vance Joseph, I'm so appreciative of you.
Give him the bag.
Give him the bag.
Oh,
but
dude,
we're getting comp picks because he's gone. There's no way, and he deserves it. He's going to do such a great job as a head coach this next time. I can't help but root for him. It's going to suck because he is just lights out, and he plays the Chiefs so well. Like Vance Joseph, chef's kiss.
The good news is that the more likely jobs he would potentially take are in the NFC, more than likely.
Maybe.
However, who would have thunk that, like, look back 8 years ago that you'd be like, please don't go. Like asking VJ not to go for what he's doing. But I mean, next man up, Jim Leonard. Let's go. If that's the case.
Well, and I got to say, I'm always called to remember the Hard Knocks when the Arizona Cardinals were on there, and the Cardinals were playing the Broncos, and they did that small little feature. Funny enough, Zach Allen was on the Cardinals at that point, but they did the feature, and the Broncos were playing the Cardinals, and Cardinals were going to face Denver, and they did a little feature on Vance Joseph. It was at that point where I was really like, you know what? There's no love lost. Like they really respect each other, right? Like they like the love never changed in a sense. They never wavered. They still love each other. Vance, I mean, he clearly loved Denver. Denver loves Vance. He had his home in Colorado still. And so I'm called to remember that, to where it was just like, oh man, we were so quick to judge on Vance. And even look back at that, like the players loved him. The players loved Vance. It was just the overall execution and how everything was handled, to where it's just like, unfortunately, it could never pan out. But the fact that we have come now full circle to a point where Vance Joseph, obviously the forgotten son, or the son, if you will, of Colorado football, for him to be a longtime favorite, if you will, now a Broncos country, to where you could argue he's almost Ring of Fame worthy with the way that he's kind of resurrected things here a little bit. I know he's only been there for, a short amount of time for being a coach, but like, it's wild, how that thing has kind of changed a little bit. And, going to the game, he had Mahomes in hell the entire game. Because like were there some questionable calls, right, wrong, and different? We'll probably talk about that as we're winding out the show. But it's bad when the Chiefs offense is doing nothing but dinking and dunking, and Mahomes, and I'm going to just flat out say it, Mahomes was penalty hunting. He sucked so bad in the entire game that the deep passes and everything that he was doing downfield, it was all penalty hunting. I don't think there were a few times maybe he hit Thornton and doing stuff like that, but it was abundantly clear he was penalty hunting on a lot of those deep passes, and they weren't working. Or they were working depending on the call. And that just goes to show you how much Vance had him in hell.
We were rushing 4 most of the game. Last year when we played them, we rushed like 5 or 6 guys. Like we led in pressure, like in blitz rate. He didn't have to do that this game. That's the thing. It's crazy. Like we legitimately were rushing 4 the entire game.
Until he brings the corner blitz, and then,
dude, like,
I'm seeing ghosts.
Although,
watching with that last sack by McMillan, where he just like he talked about this after the game. You see him just like literally like fly into the sack, because he's like, I thought he was going to throw it. It's like, I'm not letting him get that pass off. I mean, they're knocking it down, or I'm sacking him. And then also watch Mahomes get up and be like, oh no, he hit me in the head. Give me like
Give me a break.
Okay, so there's two
not
ways.
even remotely close to head contact.
There was two ways I was interpreting it. Either he was, because the gesture is if you tap your helmet, you want out of the game. So was he actually asking, that he wants out of the game? I don't know.
I mean, he didn't see the field after that, so yeah.
I mean, yeah, but knowing Mahomes, that's not it.
No.
No, he was. That was correct. Yeah, it was. And it's funny. It's like I've got a friend of mine. We agree on like almost everything except for she's a Chiefs fan, and her dialogue after that, trying to say, "Oh, what was that about?" Like just the fact that they actually got called on penalties. I'm like, well, there still was plenty of meat on the bone that you guys didn't get called on. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, but
yeah.
Like the officiating was weird. I can't remember who this was, but there was that one play that the Broncos, I can't remember for the life of me who this was, but basically I think it's like a screen pass. The guy breaks a tackle and is not down, and they call the play dead.
McLaughlin, yeah,
was McLaughlin.
Yeah,
gosh, dude,
he was going to break it for 20+ yards.
Yeah,
and how many?
God forbid he break a tackle.
And how many of us on that touchdown play were just waiting for the whistle to be blown?
Oh, for sure.
Like knowing the fact that play happened, the fact that the whistle was going to end up being blown.
I haven't seen a pile move like that since we pushed Javonte over Simmons against Atlanta last year. It's been a bit.
Yeah.
That, or again, getting back to that call, the legal contact was so iffy. Riley on that first PI, that again, like you said, it's flag hunting. Ref right near the play, incomplete. Far side of the field, you see a flag, and that was exactly what happened against the Giants too.
Exactly.
And I was just like, I said some real naughty like language, like it was such bullshit. And Riley, and then there was another play where Riley's like, "What?" Not, like when Riley has to be like, "It wasn't me." When there's a flag thrown on the field, and he's so puckered up whenever anything's going on. But yeah, it's
I feel like they shouldn't allow, like, if you're calling DPI, it can only be called by the ref that's on that side of the field. Because how do you possibly see it? I don't know. But that was ridiculous.
Or the lack of the push off on Thornton. It was clearly on J-Mac. He pushed it. So
there were some. I mean, Jordan, yeah, there was some questionable stuff in there. I mean, well, and obviously, Alec, you and I, listen. How did I say it to you? I need a better angle.
mm-hmm.
But the Sean Payton shove on the sideline, I need a better angle of it.
The ref was using angle of pursuit against Sean's hip. Like clearly he moved in towards the sideline to go after Sean.
Because I was gonna say, if I didn't know better, it was like I'm watching the Oklahoma City Thunder, and that was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander trying to draw a foul. Yeah, so I don't know, like it was. So I got to see a different angle, but it looked like the ref was clearly drawing the flag on it. Obviously, I know that.
Is there a rule like isn't that neutral? Isn't that in the spot? Like as long as he's not actually on the field, he's on the sideline. Like technically, like he should be okay to be there, right?
I think so, but. So that was another one. And obviously there was one where it didn't matter in the grand scheme of things. But if there's ever a call where you could just tell it was possibly rigged or even the slightest rigged, would be the Cortland Sutton catch.
Thank you.
On 3rd and 5.
And he was when he was almost a full yard across the.
No. I'm talking about the one where he actually caught it on the sideline with 2 feet inbound.
Okay. No, we've got 2 calls here to talk about. Yeah.
And there are 2 refs, literally one who is staring at Cortland and then the other one who's probably behind him. And it's very evident that 2 feet were inbounds and they ruled it incomplete. And obviously it didn't matter because Will Lutz hit the field goal.
Yeah.
But then obviously the other one, which was the ref clearly put it a full football length. And then they go back and then they just reset the ball. and maybe that's just the other thing, and it kind of goes back to where like it's the whole review of the pass interference thing. You know, you can review the call and then do your AI assist, if you want to call it that, later after you've gone back and done the review for said spot, and then you do the actual review of the actual spot.
It was the mere fact, and then the full replay. He was well beyond, and then they literally got the first down by an inch. It was like, I was like, okay, great, but then thankfully, I mean, it ended up like keep moving the chains, but it's just that felt like almost like the moment. God, who was it? Was it who did the Chiefs play earlier in the year? Was it, and there was a clear first down. It was a tie. God, was it the Commanders? Ertz got like a clear first down,
right.
and then that was when the momentum shift happened. And
Yeah.
I was like, I swear to God, if they get us on one of these, this is what does it. Thankfully, it worked out. However, it's like since, again, try not to put it on a tinfoil hat, but ever since week 7, it's felt like the puppet masters are trying to change the narrative a bit. So
Yeah.
but they can be damned. So.
Yeah, that's at least our abbreviated vent session, if you will, on the referees. By the way, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about another person who is deserving of a game ball and a nice little slap on the butt, and that'd be Darren Rizzi.
That's true.
I mean,
he earned it.
I needed to string some more together, but it was much, much better.
Hey, call it for what it is, man. That was his best special teams game on the entire season.
Uh-huh.
And
it was.
And I mean,
it's because Trent Sherfield wasn't on the team.
But I'm not gonna forget how atrocious the other ones were.
They were bad. That was the antithesis to the Jets game. That was the complete opposite. Like everybody, Prentice was going head hunting down there. And then you have obviously like Frank Shrek Crumb putting his arm up and doing the thing. And obviously Marvin. Marvin is just like for a couple games where he was out bandied. It was just like, oh God, what's going to happen? Marv came back, did his thing. And then obviously
a little bit more on offense, but no, that's
the flip side of that is just being able to use him properly. He's a gadget guy, unfortunately. My gripe with the way that fantasy is calculated is that return yards aren't given to the player, because I have Mims on my team and I'd start him every week if that were the case. But yeah, special teams was there. Will just lock down. Dude, give him like the biggest leg, like in the most clutch leg, aside from that 42 doink against the Colts in week 2. Aside from that, he's been money.
Rich, Jordan, you were at that game. I think you even said it yourself that was some voodoo type stuff.
It was.
In that Colts game. Like, it was clear as day that thing's going middle between the goalposts, and it just like my golf game at times, it just slices right.
I'm with the unfortunate thing that happened to Jim Irsay before the season, like, they did have a, spiritual, thing coming. Those things usually come to fruition with good things happen to the team. They play inspired and all that. And once their season opener against the Dolphins, the Colts, I knew they were going to win that game just because of they're going to play inspired for Jim Irsay and all that. I just didn't know it was going to carry on to the next week, and then the field goal is going to go straight down the middle, and then all of a sudden just go all the way to the right. And then you can even say it for our DT game against the Giants. Like, it's just meant to be. Like, those things, yes, there were unfortunate, circumstances, but the team just plays inspired for whatever event it is, and it's just meant to be that they win that game. And it is what it is.
Speaking of the Giants, the Giants would be a playoff team if they had Davis Webb as their head coach. Which hopefully that doesn't happen.
Bill Belichick's going to be the coach. It's fine.
There's really, well, again, we'll answer a couple of those questions from, I believe it was Timothy and Mike that asked about the running back and Drake May conversation, if you will, with Bo. The next question really got to ask with this being a bye week is like, what's next? Like I think that when you look at this game, and I know that obviously the Broncos have had games, right? Like the Broncos have had games before where they've had fourth quarter comebacks and and everything. And I think it's low hanging fruit to say that in every single one of those games could be a tipping point for the rest of the season. That said, though, the impact of this game and how complete it was from offensive side of the ball, defensive side of the ball, I think this game could possibly be the tipping point for where this can go for this team. And I think that there's an underrated point, much like we said about, getting out of the huddle and everything, that is so valuable. And that is, we mentioned it coming out of the London game, right? And time difference matters. Obviously, Brandon himself is still trying to recover from from his trip, to England. But like it's an 8-hour time difference. They didn't have the bye. They came back home to go play the New York Giants, right? They came after that, and like they didn't have that bye. And so then you have that, and you're playing nonstop action until you get to this Thursday night game. And in that Thursday night game, they were gassed. I mean, if there's one thing you can definitely say, they were absolutely gassed. And they have this mini bye week, right? They have this mini bye week. And I'm telling you, it was like they were rejuvenated. They were rested. And now, according to Sean Payton, they're not going to be seen, allegedly, in the facility. Quarterbacks, running backs, the whole team, the staff, like they won't be at the facility. So they're going to be well rested now going into this game, and after the bye week going into the Commanders. That is such an underrated feeling, I think, and point, I think, for this Bronco team, that this might actually be the tipping point, because if this mini bye week showed that Bronco team, who knows what we're going to see with a full week.
I agree.
No, for real. I mean, that's kind of that's the gamble with electing to have your bye that far back. If you are not playing good ball, I mean, that's going to be misery. But it's been just survive, get a little rest, go from there. But yeah, and you can, in reality, it's like, we're still a pretty healthy team. Yeah, they're banged up going into KC. We're gonna get some guys back here soon. But yeah, but over the bye, the question in regards to the running back, right? That's the question. The running back room, again, I said this earlier, Harvey needs to change his jersey. I'm not sure how many times you're allowed to do that, but he needs to grab 5 now. But I mean, I made a joke the other day, but I think there's probably guys' legs. I mean, aside from picking, because for them to add any running backs that are actually, it's either you sign somebody to the active roster from a practice squad somewhere else. That's the only way you can grab somebody. Aside from that, I mean, the name that they're like, what we need now, running back wise, we need somebody with some meat on his bones, because like RJ's about 205.
It's okay, but not great.
Yeah, but how about you get a 2-for-1 special here? You get a personality plus a body. I mean, Jamal Williams, bring it, dude. 6 foot 230, come in to just be a grinder, short yardage kind of guy if we need it. And he has a nose for the end zone as well. So,
yeah.
The flip side of that is he's almost 31, unless you want to go after like somebody like Zach Moss.
Yeah.
Or Josh Kelly, maybe, but Dante Foreman, if he wants to be his college self. But Yeah, there's not a lot of guys that are out there in the market right now in the running back position that it would be like game changers. It would just be a depth piece. They're gonna have to steal somebody like Damian Martinez away from was it Seattle?
I know,
Yeah.
I know. Jordan would really hate that move if they got Damian Martinez.
I'm sure he would, Miami guy.
I don't know. I have some mixed feelings on him, but
Just look up Jamal Williams, and the first picture that pops up is just like him with crazy eyes and the Saints.
Oh.
I love him so much.
Yeah, no, purely from the vibes, it's like the running back equivalent to Jameis. Like it would be so much fun.
That's probably an appropriate comparison, actually.
yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, well, and I think that there's other backs that have been thrown around, or one back that has been thrown around. Obviously, it's been a former Denver Bronco, and that'd be Latavius Murray. I don't see that happening. I mean, if at that point, if you're going to call Latavius Murray, you might as well call Mark Ingram out there from the college football studio, and bring him from Big Ten kickoff and whatever, and get him out of retirement, so he's not doing the Dexter Lawrence dance, on Big Ten game day or whatever, so you can get him a chance to wear a Broncos uniform for you. But I think probably Jamal Williams is probably your better bet. But I think there's another one that's probably there's two fascinating ones, and that would be, they just use Marvin Mims, right? Like they might just use a little bit more Marvin Mims. He's not the bruiser type back, but they just might feature him a little bit more in that running game, which we know the offense kind of took off with him when he had that, right? Like last year from the midway point on. And he just kind of became a little bit more of a focal point on that. So I'm fascinated by that. And then obviously, Himothy asked probably the question that may or may not just get us over the hump when it comes to I think we're at a lot of viewers now. We might actually get 700 viewers if we have this question. And that is, do we believe that Drake May is better than Bo Nix?
I think this is kind of a ridiculous question. Nothing against the empathy. I'm just like, why compare? I mean, May is an amazing quarterback. Like straight up, he's just so good. And I hate that the Patriots don't really have to go through any kind of like painful bottom feeder. I mean, like, okay, for a little bit, but like, you shouldn't have to you should be able to go from the GOAT to, okay, we're bad for a little bit. And then like, okay, now we have like a top 10 quarterback again. And he's 23 years old. Drake May is for real. But Bo Nix is also really good. So like, yes. I don't want to compare.
They are what they need to be for the respective teams. That's just how it is. They both have a great relationship with their head coaches. They both have a ton of upside. They're both winning quarterbacks. One is, and again, you start comparing again, you don't want to start getting too nitty gritty with it, but schedules are different the way they're playing. But Drake's a stud. He's been a stud since college. They both have been doing this since they were back in UNC and then Auburn, Oregon. Like they've been doing this. He's a young dude too. And also he seems like has a good head on his shoulders too. So it's like, I like that, I don't want to, it's the non-answer answer. They're both absolute studs for their respective teams. Having said that, J-Max picking his ass off in the AFC Cup game. And so is Hufanga. But they're fun both guys are incredibly fun to watch.
Well, and I think it's evident to everything that, has been this draft class. I don't know what to make of the draft class like long term, but I think that when you look at just the overall class, I still think it has the makings of being a phenomenal class or a really good class. I mean, JJ has had a lot of ups and downs, like a lot of ups and downs. But I think that when you look at it still, and you still have to look at it, he's in his second year, but this is his first true, this is his first true like full season in the NFL, and he's been hurt, right? And frankly, if you're kind of looking at it just from this season, Bo Nix has outplayed Jaden Daniels, and there's one large problem with Jaden Daniels right now, and that is his health. Like, we're entering uncomfortable conversations when it comes to Jaden Daniels and a former Washington quarterback, now turned broadcaster. And that is, we're seeing a little bit where are we entering a bit of an RG3 type territory when it comes to Jaden Daniels? Both phenomenal quarterbacks, but just cannot stay on the field. And I think that where it's really turning into a bit of a conversation as it stands right now is just the Drake May, Bo Nix, Caleb Williams conversation. And all three quarterbacks of all three teams have their teams number one in the division right now. Like, kudos to Caleb Williams for really turning things around under Ben Johnson, because it looked rough. Like, it looked really rough there for the beginning part of the this season there, and he's really turned it around, and he's really starting to mesh a little bit more with Ben Johnson and that scheme and those playmakers. And then Drake May, he's been phenomenal. There's a reason why he's an MVP candidate right now. The only knock on him is not maybe necessarily a May thing. It's just a New England Patriots thing, and that is calling it for what it is. To any of the Patriots fans that's in this chat, they got a cake schedule, man. Like, they got a cake regular season schedule. And frankly, the only thing that is probably standing in their way of being the number one seed is a game that is going to possibly be happening on Sunday with a turn of events, Alec, Brandon, and Jordan, that happened today on Wednesday. And that would be Joe Burrow was a full participant in practice on Wednesday for the Cincinnati Bengals. Who knows if he plays, but a little bit more of a tougher game, and everything. So I think that when you look at just the class, I think it still has a chance to be a good class. It's one where there's just still, they're young, they're young quarterbacks and they need time to develop. That's kind of like the whole soapbox on that. They just need time to develop.
Yep. And it's Drake aside, for Caleb and Bo, having their head coaches be the play callers. That's just the way it is. If for the most success for quarterback development, it is having an offensive guy at the helm, and Vrabel is just a unicorn. Vrabel is just different. But having said that, McDaniels up there he is the OC equivalent to Fangio. Just stay as a coordinator and you are elite at it. But no, and similar to what we talked about earlier with Denver they need a true weapon. New England has also got cap to spend, and they're going to probably go receiver this next year too. So, they're only going to get better. These teams, that's the point of kind of the parity in football. Unfortunately, when teams that you don't want to see at up top again do it, it's because they're actually rebuilding properly. So it is what it is.
Yeah,
it means the system works.
Well, boys, any final thoughts on what was the biggest game for the Denver Broncos in the last 10 years? Brandon?
Man, let's Bo.
Let's Bo. Jordan, I know it's a little bit late where you are, but do you have any final thoughts, or do you have a mic drop that you care to share about a quarterback, a position group, a head coach, or what? Do you have a mic drop that needs to be said?
It's not more of a mic drop. It's just I think people should, I'll keep it PG. I think people just should shut up and just let the players develop into who they are and not make everything like the sky's falling on a week-to-week basis. If they were to understand what's going on within those buildings and what's being said, it would change their viewpoint drastically. But Bo's going to be just fine. It's funny how the narrative changed completely on just 7 days, basically. He's going to be fine. Let him develop. He's our franchise guy. There's no questions about it. And if he continue with the negative BS that's been going around, just I know who to keep serious and who not to. So just let him be. He's our franchise guy, and he's 9-2.
Alec?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be remiss to not acknowledge the Raiders guy in the chat right now. They're 2-8. We're 9-2. Our quarterback leads the team. His quarterback does not. But it is the most optimistic. It's one of those years that it is genuinely just, it feels so much better being an optimistic fan when you see these moves that the franchise has done that are actually working and leading to positive things. So I would say that, again, it is every Sunday is stressful. However, it's fun to see the team win and win in a way that will help them down the line.
Yeah. It is going to be a movie. It is going to be a Bo movie where you can only find it on the Bo OnlyFans, maybe that's going to end up being a safer link, if you will. But no, it's going to be a fun ride. And look, I mean, if there was ever a time of serenity, it was this game against Kansas City Chiefs. Because if you have even the biggest haters coming out and saying, man, Bo Nix played a great game against the Kansas City Chiefs, and nearly everybody had been saying that, right? Like, the Bo Nix had such a great game, and then all of a sudden you have like the most random people, come out and just, either not paying attention to the game or just saying like, nah, he still sucks, or former players who can't even read a regular season schedule, and think that the Denver Broncos are playing on Sunday when they aren't actually playing on Sunday. I mean, it goes to show you who is informed and who is not informed. And or what is the famous line? It goes to show you who are the filthy casuals and who are the ball knowers. We want to thank everybody for hopping into the chat. It was quite a lively chat, and I actually think it has Alec and the fact that Brandon was at the game to do that, and of course that Jordan is as much of a ball knower as all three of us as well. So it has been a fantastic show. Thank you guys to everybody that was in the chat again. Make sure you hit the follow button for Alec, who is on Blue Sky. Make sure you follow him over there on Blue Sky, and follow myself, Brandon, and Jordan over there on X, on Twitter, whatever you want to call it. I still call it Twitter, just like I still call it Pepsi Center. And, obviously Mile High is Mile High. Follow Brandon at Brandon Miller PO. Follow Jordan at Jordan T. Lopez. Follow myself at Kane Parker PO. Subscribe to the YouTube channel at MHRT Network. Subscribe to the mainly Broncos YouTube channel. And we're doing a whole bunch of short form. We're doing a whole bunch of short form over there on TikTok and on Instagram. It's been a fun ride. It's been a fun ride, and I do have to give a shout out to Josh Sherman for doing a whole bunch of that short form over there on TikTok and Instagram. He's been absolutely killing it. So good job, New Master 69, on all that short on that short form. It's been fun. And without further ado, man, let's give it one last for not just a let's go Bo, but a God bless Bo Nix.
Let's go Broncos! God bless Bo Nix!
Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Simcoe's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast racking up the flight miles. So high, I might never come